Good morning, everyone. I'm Oikawa of Google Corporation. This is the final session of the morning. I'm honored to give you this talk. I wonder why it's not running. Okay, now it's running. I'm sorry for the delay. The title of my talk is Empower Your Web Applications with Google. I'd like to talk about how to make your web applications even more attractive, making use of the power of Google. In this afternoon, there will be various breakout sessions, and I'll give an overview about these breakout sessions. I'll give an overview of the APIs and tools that we'll be discussing in detail in this afternoon. There are a number of important points that I would like to explain in a little bit of detail. And finally, as Mizuki-san and Douglas said at the beginning, there are a number of surprising tools that were launched just an hour ago or so. You'll be able to see these in more detail today. We started out with Mizuki-san, and I'm the fourth speaker now. Some of you may be bored because we haven't had any demos so far, but I will be showing you some demos that I think you'll be able to enjoy. When we think of web applications today, they generally run within browsers, or they may go beyond the browser and make use of other web technology, making use of rich client technology. There are both approaches. But why have such web applications expanded so much in recent years? In Japan, Korea, and certain countries, broadband has expanded a lot. Also, constant connections are becoming prevalent. That's been an important factor. Nowadays, Gmail, Google Calendar, and other functions are used by a lot of people. The web dynamic user experiences that were not possible in the near past have become possible thanks to the revolutionary AJAX technology. Rather than linking with just single web services, just as Itano-san of Hatena explained, it's possible to mash up multiple sites to make an even more attractive application. That's another reason for the growth of web applications. In this context, there's something we want to tell you about. Google's APIs, tools, products, and services are provided as building blocks for you to create more attractive web applications. We hope you'll make full use of them to make your applications more attractive, as well as to increase the productivity of your development activities. Furthermore, we hope Google's functionality will help you to attract more users to your websites and services. We hope to build that kind of a positive relationship with you. Here's an overview of some of the APIs and tools that we provide to you. I've divided them into three categories. The first is functionalities for development of web applications. We at Google have provided a number of building blocks to increase your productivity and effectiveness for developing web applications. The second category is are products that can be used as plugins to your applications to expand your applications, or also to link Google functionalities with your applications. The third category is to help to make your sites more attractive and to collect more users, functionalities that will help you to attract more users. I will introduce three different APIs or interfaces from each of these categories. But strictly speaking, our building blocks are not limited to one category. But just to make it easier to understand, let's look at it from these categories. The first is our building blocks to make web application development easier. The first one of these is the Google Maps API. This is probably the most famous and most used API of Google. Hatena Map also made use of it. You can, incorporate Google Maps into your site freely if you need a map information. Or you could use a dog avatar for communication You could use the map information to mash up with your information as was shown in the last presentation. There will be a breakout session to go into the Google Maps API in detail. I hope you can join it. The second one I'd like to talk about is the Google Ajax API. Strictly speaking, there are two types of Ajax APIs. The first is an Ajax Search API. This makes use of our powerful web and video search capabilities and allows you to include that into your sites as a dynamic user interface. You may have already provided, a search box on your sites, with powered by Google on it. But not only that, you can achieve more dynamic types of searches using the Ajax Search API. There's a second Ajax API called the RSS Feed API. There are RSS as well as Atom feeds that can be supported and feed various types of informations. You can mash up multiple feeds on your website in the form of a dynamic user interface, making use of the RSS Feed API. There will be a breakout session in the afternoon to go into detail about that as well. The final item in this category is the GWT, the Google Web Toolkit. Greg's presentation mentioned about this, but this doesn't link to Google services directly. Nowadays, many of you, when you're making Ajax applications, you use JavaScript in various ways. But unfortunately, as you have experienced, it's often difficult to support multiple browsers like Firefox, Safari, Opera, etc. So supporting multiple browsers can be quite difficult. Secondly, JavaScript was not geared to large-scale development originally, so it's difficult to do large-scale development with JavaScript. The GWT, Google Web Toolkit, allows you to use your familiar Java to write your applications, and it will it'll compile that into JavaScript. And we've disclosed the 1.4 RC version of the GWT, so we hope you can access that and make use of it. The second category I'd like to talk about is integration and expansion of Google products and services. The first I'd like to talk about is the Google Data or GData API. This allows you to read and write various types of data on the web using a common data format and protocol. It's based on XML, RSS, and Atom and extends these with various. It supports bloggers as well as Google Calendar, as well as Google Spreadsheet, as well as Picasso. It can serve as a common infrastructure for various types of services. Our products and services can be integrated to your functionality, making use of the GData API. There will be an afternoon breakout session to talk about the GData API. I hope you can join that. The second item in this category is for use on your PC rather than on the web. It's the Google Desktop SDK. There are two ways to expand your Google Desktop. One is to, normally Google Desktop allows you to search files stored locally on your PC. The major well-known file types are supported in a standard fashion. But if you have made a particular application that has a special application format, and you want to index and be able to search that on your desktop, we provide an API to allow you to do searches on such proprietary formats as well on your desktop. Secondly, you often have the sidebar to put on Windows. Many people use this on the sidebar. You can include gadgets or mini applications in your Windows sidebar, and that can interact with web applications. So there's also an API for development of sidebar gadgets. These are together are called the desktop SDKs. In the afternoon, there will be a session especially on development of Google Desktop gadgets. I hope you can join it. There's another thing I'd like to ask you about. I suppose you're using Firefox or IE or other ones, but which of you are using the Google toolbar on your browser, be it Firefox or IE? More than half of you are already using the Google toolbar, I guess, but when Did you know that it's possible to add customized buttons to your Google Toolbar? The Google Toolbar API allows you to make customized buttons for your Google Toolbar. There will be another session to explain about that later on. Finally, I'd like to talk about different building blocks that will help you to gain more users or attract them to your website. The first one is Google Gadgets. This can be used on what is called iGoogle, or the personalized home pages. These gadgets can be put on your personalized web pages on iGoogle. A second functionality is KML used in Google Earth. When you select a particular location on the map, you can get a KML file or a compressed file. You can plot something and make a KML document. If you hand that information to your user, then you can have your customers do a tour through your stores throughout Japan, for instance. There are many exciting ways to make use of KML. There will be a session to explain about that. Finally, I'd like to talk about Google Maplets. At the Web 2.0 conference held in San Jose the day before yesterday, we announced Google Maplets. We showed the street view as well, where you get a 360 view from your car. The street view was announced a lot on the web, but there wasn't as much attention given to Google Maplets. So let me focus on Google Maplets later on. We have introduced about 9 APIs so far, but there are others that we provide also.
And I'd like to switch to the demo screen. I decided not to. It has to be Firefox. What's called Google Code. As you may know, from our More page, from the top page, if you press More and if you jump to this, and there is a Google code, there is no Japanese available, but if you go from the English page, you'll be able to get there, and we are translating that into Japanese, and this is a Google code Japanese web page. Unfortunately, couldn't deliver the link from More, and couldn't provide you on time, so we put the URL, but soon the link from More will become available. And if you have a look, you'll be able to know it says English in parentheses, English in parentheses. There is not much Japanese, but we are going to enhance Japanese, so please look forward to it. And going back to the slide once again, Google Gadget. As I explained earlier, that on an iGoogle, the web trend application can be put. And if you create a universal gadget on a sidebar, you can put them as well. And the Google Gadget, this year we are going to focus on Google Gadget. And if you create the gadget as a mini application, then to your site, you'll be able to move users, and also the personalization, which hasn't taken root in Japan yet, we'd like to spread in Japan. And we have a plan this time, and we are going to do the gadget contest and to ask you to write attractive gadget, and I'd like you to make an entry, and the entry will be received from June 2007, and we are thinking about 3 months, and we are going to announce the result in the end of October 2007, and we will ask you to send us a gadget that is not open to the public yet, and we are going to announce to you the details from the mid-June 2007. And since you're here today, we wanted to give you good news and share the good news with you today. And that's why we announced in advance. And the Google Gadget Contest and Google and Impress R&D are sponsoring this contest. And we asked Impress R&D for great support, and like to say thank you very much to Impress R&D and the iGoogle Con JP. If you our PC is connected, you'll be able to see. So please have a look at the site, and we are going to announce the details about the how to make an entry and also the prizes in the mid-June 2007. So please stay tuned. Google Maplet, as I mentioned earlier, yesterday was announced in the US. What is it like? And it is Hatena map that was introduced by Ito-san. And so far, the Google Map information could be captured by your site, non-Google site, and this maplet will be the other way around. The Google Map will be an infrastructure, and the Google Map will be allowing you to add your components to the map. So the Google Map will become a geographical map mash-up. And why? Because you may be making a paste on your site to create a map, but unfortunately, everyone, even if you try that, you won't be able to gain a lot of users to your site. And eventually, what do users do using Google Map or other geographical map or geographical site? And rather, if we can make a smooth flow between your site and Google Map to link the two, that is how we came to develop the Google Maplet. And I'd like to make it easier to understand. So far, your website and Google Map existed, and the conventional Google Web API allows you to capture the Google Map into your site, but what we are going to do will be the other way around. The Google Map, your contents or services will be captured in the Google Map. The Google Maplet, a small component, is created by you to implement this. And this morning, a CO.jp became available this morning. Yesterday only COM, but this morning we could deliver on time the CO.jp. And so I hope that you enjoy the demo. And please switch the screen. As you can see, the co.jp and the URL is changed. If you jump there, the Maplet tab is added, as you may notice. For instance, here, you come to Tokyo, and see around the Imperial Palace. And for instance, here, I won't be able to do a lot of small things, but if you make a tour around the Imperial Palace, what happens, there is a distance measurement maplet, and if you measure the distance and click on the map, you'll be able to tell what the distance is. For instance, starting from Sakuradamon, just a second. And I'm going to try with IE this time. Let's say starting from Sakuradamon, thus you can go to Hibiya and then Nijubashi. and it is rather difficult to go around Imperial Paris accurately. I'm not going to show you everything, but it's measured that it's 2.8 kilometer. And you may say, so what? Exactly, but let's say another example from the US. This. This is already in Japanese, but this is originally contents from the US, so there aren't many Japanese related information, but there is a maplet for making a reservation at the hotel. So far at the Google Map, only the local information or geographical information could be searched where the hotel is. But if you want to make a reservation tonight, you might want to see whether there is any vacancy, but you couldn't do that so far. But the booking.com allows you to search the reservation, and that is implemented by Maplet. And unfortunately, can't put Japanese, so I'm going to enter English, and I want to have a reservation in Tokyo tonight, and then I'll be able to get the two hotels. And since it's the US side, there aren't two candidates, but you can find more than one vacancies. And then this is just an example, but if you have many different services on the MapRep, you can integrate your services. And this time, mashup of mashup, the maplet is called as such, and you can reserve the hotels and also measure the distances of the 2 points. And it was a simple application, but also you can combine more than one applets, and you'll be able to feel convenient to use the different applets. And in the breakout sessions, you'll be able to see more attractive and detailed demo in the afternoon. Going back to the slide once again. Next, I'm going to show a toolbar API, and you already have toolbar API, and you may have noticed the custom button. And what does custom button allow you to do? One is a bookmark row, so if you click, you'll be able to jump to that site. If there is nothing in the search box, you'll be able to jump to that if you have a custom button. And if there is a search box in the site, if you want to search inside the site, or if it's a dictionary site, there is an English, Japanese, Japanese, English, or Japanese, Japanese search box, and then the search will be allowed by Google Toolbar. So if you want to do the dictionary function from English to Japanese, you put the Japanese into the search box and click, and then you jump to that site and be able to know what the English word for that. It's a dictionary function. And also Gmail has already done this. The RSS and Atom feed can be captured, and you can get the first information there. So by inserting this at your site, you'll be able to gain this, that you'll be able to acquire the viewers to your site. And creation of the custom button of Google Toolbar. If you use that, I will give you another chance. But if it's so simple, you'll be able to create on your own. For instance, if you want to embed the RSS feed, or if the button is updated, if you want to notify, need to write the XML. And as it says, you don't need to write everything. Therefore, and it's a challenge, a custom button creation, you can do it in 5 minutes, and I'd like to create the custom button. It will be a live demo. There may be some inconveniences, and even if I fail, please endure.
So we'll switch over to the demo screen, but before that, let me explain where you can view the functionality for making customized buttons on Google Toolbar. You go to the button gallery, and here it says there's a section for developers. There are explanations about the detailed XML syntax here. You can read the details here. I won't do this today, but if your button has been completed, please, add your button to our gallery. Then it will be added to our gallery here. So we at Google will introduce your custom buttons to other users. Unfortunately, there aren't that many Japanese language buttons, so we look to your cooperation to develop more of these customized buttons for us. Let's actually make a customized button from here. I was thinking what to do. Why don't we make use of Mozilla's site for this? The Mozilla Japan organization has this website. They provide a search box for custom search on their site. If you have a Google toolbar on your browser and you do a right click on your browsers, then you get a item for making a new custom button. Just by doing that, as it's shown in yellow here, Mozilla's logo shows up here. That was taken from the Fabicon. A button with Mozilla's logo is added to your bar here. When we type in Google here, if you normally do a normal search here, you'd be a normal Google search. But if you click Mozilla's custom button instead, then you do a search for the Google string within Mozilla's site rather than the web in general. You could access famous EC sites or blog sites that you access often. You can add, just add their site to your custom menu and then do a search within that site, as I showed you. We can also make RSS feeds viewable. And when there's been an update, we can make it visible that there's been an update on your button. Let's see the XML code behind these custom buttons now. When you select option and you click button, then we select edit for the custom button that we made. There's a detailed edit button, so here we get the XML code. Here we see a template for the XML file that we just are using. We can copy and paste this. I'll make the font a little bit smaller here. And you can edit it. There are a number of things you need to do now. First, at the description, you can leave the description as is, but you could also add lang equal JA. Then what happens is that when it's included in the custom button gallery, it'll be clear that it's a Japanese button, and it will be indicated as Japanese. The title could also be changed to say lang equal JA. There are a number of meanings to. You can actually support a number of languages in the same button by adding the supported languages here. So the basic setup is complete now. Next, as I explained a moment ago, let me close the screen. We'd like to embed an RSS feed into that button. Mozilla has a number of RSS feeds, but let's select the Mozilla Japan most recent information RSS feed and include that in our button. Here, there are various ways of viewing it, but here's the RSS feeds link, so we will include that. Unfortunately, you're going to have to do some hand coding here. You use the syntax feed and then indicate the refresh interval, how frequently you go and read the RSS feed. Here, the refresh interval will be made 30 minutes or 1,080 seconds, 1,800 seconds. And then, so that will indicate the feed frequency. Next, we want to tell the user when the button has been updated. We have a site for doing this beforehand. We'll make use of that site. We'll add Mozilla Japan XML, like this. By doing this, the file is completed. Next, what we need to do is to upload this XML file somewhere. The XML file that we just made needs to be stored somewhere. I'm sorry that it's very simple HTML, but this is where we've uploaded the XML to this site. Let's make sure that the contents are identical to what we just made. This is an XML file that was in there from before. It's not the one that we just made. Sorry about that. What should I do? I guess I'll have to open my notepad. Okay, it opened up. This is identical to the file I showed you a moment ago. It's already been uploaded. This is the uploaded XML file. So you upload the XML file onto the web. I'm sorry about that. And next, if you read the API document, you'll get the details, but there's a special URL for registering your button to the toolbar. So that when you click this, you make sure that the custom button gets added to your toolbar. Oh, it's already included here. So you can see the various feeds issued by Mozilla. When you click that button, then you can jump to the RSS feed and read the articles immediately. You make the XML and upload it on some site, and after that, you register your button in our custom button gallery. After that, we will be able to introduce your custom buttons to other users. I'm sorry, the demo took more than the 5 minutes I expected. But you can see that it's very easy to make use of custom buttons in this way, and it also will help to get new users to come to your sites. This will be on the web later on, so you can look at it in detail. There's also some Japanese documentation for this feature. I hope you can refer to it later. Next, I'd like to go to and explain about the further evolution of web applications. Web applications are very convenient, but they face one major issue. Simply speaking, they're not easy to use if you go offline. Greg already talked about this, but once you're offline, or if your access is intermittent, or if your line is very slow or unstable, what should you do? That's the big bottleneck for web applications, isn't it? This morning, I believe, we uploaded and announced a new functionality to address this issue. It's the Google Gears library. It's a library of various JavaScript APIs. It allows offline access to web applications. In the JavaScript library, there are a number of features. We provide a local relational database to access data locally. When you're offline, the client browser will access the local database and do input and output of data with the local database rather than the web. We also provide a local server component library. This allows you to cache HTML, JavaScript, and images locally and provide that information to the application. So when you're just by using that library or API, the application can achieve its functionality even offline. Thirdly, we provide the worker pool, also known as thread functionality. If there's a lot of CPU resources or browser resources being used for I/O, sometimes you can make use of this worker pool library to achieve, asynchronous I/O. and increase the performance. I think seeing the demo would be the best to understand this feature. I hope this demo will run properly. Let's move to that. I'll start out with the simple one first. This is a sample application that we are providing. It asks you, is it okay to make use of Google Gears? So you click OK. Let me clear the field. Think of it as a simple database application. I think you can imagine what's going on background. The input is stored on the web and indicated. The input is stored on the web and indicated. Let's type Google and click the Add button. Next, we'll type in Japan and add. These are normal operations, aren't they? Next, let's take the browser offline. Even when your browser is offline, this application can continue to run. When you go back online and refresh the browser, see what happens. It's asked for permission again, but the input that you made when you were offline is still alive and effective. So even if you're intermittently online and offline, if you're using Google Gears, it's as if you're constantly accessing the web. I think you, as developers, will understand what this means.
And there's an application that we created on time, and what can we use with the Google API? You might imagine what application might be, but specifically when the application will become Google enabled is not announced, but there is one application in lab and we wanted to make Google enabled, and in Sydney we haven't been able to show the demo. I think this is the world first demo. The Google Reader. Anyone who uses Google Reader, please raise your hand. Many of you. Although it's not in Japanese, according to a survey, many Japanese users have already used this. Thank you very much. And in the level, there is a Google Reader. On the right hand side, there is a green button that goes down. And next to the Google account, there is a button. And this is added newly. And have a look, you know that it's a normal feed. Normal feeds are stored. And if you press this green button, maximum of 2,000 feeds can be updated and be used offline. And the Google Reader can be used offline. And for instance, the browser, if you say offline work, this is a blog for Google developers and you'll be able to see it. And thus, the article's contents can become viewable. The Google Japan blog, many of you might be subscribing, and this is also the blog, the Google Japan, and you'll be able to see that as well. And really, is this really offline? You might wonder, or you may not wonder though. It's already in the cache. Sorry, maybe we should look at another site where something not in cache but can't find. Well, maybe find the Hatena's site. See, it's not connected. It's proven. And the Google Reader, for instance, well, I have to do it once again. There is another one, the Google Reader. I read many different articles and read the article, and I continue reading other articles. For instance, I read, and after completing reading, it's already online once again, so I put back the feed. And then on the other direction, there is a sync running, so the articles are decreasing because I've already read some of the articles. So it goes both ways in terms of sync. And so as a Google Reader, it's always online. And there are some things that are very convenient because it's always online, or but the Google Gear is very innovation in the sense that it can be used even if it's offline, and whether it's a Windows-based application or whether the application is offline, you'll be able to use it. And Gears, in the Greg session, it was discussed that there is a browser enhancement. So add a module and install into the browser. The Firefox and Internet Explorer are supported, and in the future, other browsers will be supported. And this time it's an open source, so either Google provides or you contribute and port. Not sure yet, but be able to enhance the other browsers in the future. And operating systems, Linux, Mac OS X, Windows are supported. And as I mentioned, it's open source. The actual license is BSD, and it's completely free. Free, there could be two meanings. It's free of charge, and also since it's open source, it's freely available. There's no restriction. You just comply with BSD, so basically there's no restriction other than that. And it's a beta version. And please evaluate and give us a feedback after you try out the Google Gears and embed them in your Google application and make your applications more attractive. And my presentation is Empower Your Web Application with Google. And in the first half, we talked about the Google API and services, and to make the productivity of web applications higher and make your applications more attractive and guide users to your site through a Google. And also, I didn't introduce this, but the way you use the web these days, not just simply searching, but rather it goes beyond searching. So using the intelligence of the public to elevate your potentials, and the development is also facing the same thing. And not sure how much you know, but the Google web search can have many different options to allow you to do more interesting searches. And also the Google code search is also provided. And if you're not familiar with this, I'd like to show you a demo. Please switch to the demo screen. Google code search. There is a source code specific search. On the net, there are many different samples in various areas, and don't reinvent the wheels. If there is no problem with the intellectual properties, leverage and user sources, so you'll be able to improve the efficiency or productivity of development, and making it open source to open it to the public, there will be the society as a whole innovation, and I hope you utilize a code search. Please go back to the slide once again. And other than code search, there is a Google Scholar, which is specific to the academic papers search. And in terms of Japanese, it's not yet launched, not released, but soon we think we'll be able to provide the Japanese version. The academic papers, NII papers, are also available, so the English interface is very convenient to use. And the building blocks are tools and interfaces. Please use them, and if you use the Google services, you'll be able to improve the development productivity. That's what I shared with you. And last but not least, as Mizuki said, after the breakout session, we have a reception party in the evening. And together with developers, if we have a conversation with you, we'll be able to get new ideas, and we'll be able to learn many things from you. And I hope that we'll be able to get your candid opinions in a casual party. And maybe you were excited about the demo, or maybe a little nervous about how the demo went But I think you got a lot of new news from today's presentation. I hope that you stay with us until the last reception party so that we'll be able to exchange